The Catalina 25 is one of the most successful small cruising boats ever built in America. More than 5,000 were launched beginning in 1978, and they're still everywhere in marinas, on lakes, beside suburban garages, in classified ads for the price of a used riding lawnmower. But before you buy one, there's something important to understand. The Catalina 25 is not really one boat, it's several boats wearing the same name, rather like a family reunion where everyone has the same nose, but one cousin is an accountant and another one arrives on a dirt bike. Depending on the year, it can have a swing keel, a fixed fin keel, or a shallow wing keel. It can have the standard rig or the tall rig. Down below, it can have an open traditional interior or an L-shaped dinette. Later boats received new windows, less teak, and a substantial redesign in the cabin. So two Catalina 25s tied beside each other may look almost identical from the dock while sailing differently, launching from the ramp differently, and presenting completely different ownership problems. The basic recipe stayed the same though. This is a 25-foot fiberglass cruiser with an 8-foot 8 beam, a large cockpit that everybody raves about, an outboard engine, and an interior that manages to provide far more living space than you might expect. Depending on the keel, displacement is roughly 4,100 to 4,500 pounds. But once you add a trailer and an engine and batteries and anchors and fuel and water and cruising gear, the towing weight can easily reach 6 or 7,000 pounds. So yes, the Catalina 25 is trailerable, but that word needs an asterisk. It is trailerable in the same way that your sofa is portable. You can move it, sure, but most owners are not launching and retrieving one of these things every Tuesday afternoon at the local boat ramp. The cockpit is one of the reasons the 25 became so popular. It's long, comfortable, and genuinely useful. There's enough room for a small family, a few friends, or a skipper who simply enjoys being able to stretch out. The tiller is simple and direct. The boat can be handled alone without very much difficulty. Everything is reasonably close at hand, although many older boats have been upgraded with lines led aft to make reefing and sail handling a bit easier from the cockpit. At the stern, one of the first buying questions is the outboard. 6 horse can move the boat in calm conditions, but a 7.5 to 10 horse is a lot more common. More power will not suddenly turn your Catalina into a motorboat. The hull is still going to top out at around 6 knots. Shaft length here matters more than horsepower. The motor sits on a bracket at the edge of the transom where a normal shaft can lift partly out of the water as the boat pitches and heels. A 25-inch extra long shaft is strongly preferred. Without it, the propeller can begin ventilating just when the conditions become rough enough and you need the engine most. This is not the moment you want the motor impersonating a blender lifted halfway out of the soup. Because the motor is offset from the rudder, reversing can also take some practice. Remote throttle and shift controls are a pretty useful upgrade. Inspect the rudder for cracks on these and swelling and split edges or signs of water intrusion. Check the pintles and gudgeons for movement and corrosion. Then look closely at the transom around both the rudder fittings and that outboard bracket. These areas carry real loads, so flexing and cracking deserves attention. Moving forward, the side decks are usable but fairly narrow because the cabin trunk takes much of the beam. Check every stanchion base for movement and moisture. The hull on these are fiberglass, but the deck is cord, so leaking hardware can damage the plywood around the mast step, chain plates, or stanchion and hatches. The windows and port lights are another common leak point. Early boats had more traditional appearance, while later models received large flush-mounted windows. On either version, look for water stains inside the cabin and signs that the sealant has failed. A little staining doesn't automatically condemn a boat, but it should never be dismissed without investigation. Water entering through deck hardware can travel further than expected before finally appearing inside the cabin. Then there are 2 principal rigs to choose from. The standard rig is calmer and a more common choice, but the tall rig uses a roughly 2-foot higher mast and carries a bit more sail area, which helps in light wind but also makes the boat more tender as the breeze builds. A tall rig can be a real advantage in areas with gentle summer conditions. It also asks the owner to reef earlier. Carrying too much sail can create heavy weather helm, making the tiller feel as though it's developed a personal grudge. Regardless of the rig, inspect the standing rigging carefully. Early boats often use closed body turnbuckles that can hide corrosion. Check the swages and the chain plates, spreader fittings, and the mast step. If the rigging is decades old and nobody knows when it was replaced, you may need to budget accordingly. Now we reach the biggest difference between the Catalina 25s, the keel. You can have the swing keel version carrying about 1,500 pounds of cast iron. Lowered, it gives the boat about 5 feet of draft. Raised, draft drops to around 2 foot 8 inches, making the boat much easier to launch and very useful in shallow water. But the keel is raised by a cable and a winch, a turning ball, a hose, and lifting hardware, and every one of those components needs inspection. Check the cable for broken strands, the winch for corrosion, the hose for cracking, and the pivot system for wear. The keel should move without excessive side-to-side play or heavy banging in its trunk. A failed cable might be inconvenient, but a failed hose will let water into the boat. A badly worn pivot joint can damage the keel trunk itself. Catalina also discouraged leaving swing keel boats in salt water for extended periods because corrosion and electrolysis can attack the system. A properly maintained swing keel is useful and dependable. The danger is not the design itself. The danger is buying one with 40 years of neglected hardware hiding below the waterline. That's rather like buying a used parachute because the backpack looks tidy. The fixed fin keel version draws about 4 feet, carries more ballast, and is generally considered to be the best sailor. It points higher, feels more settled, and eliminates the entire swing keel machine. For an owner keeping the boat in a marina, the fin keel is probably the simplest and most rewarding boat to buy. The trade-off is that it's harder to launch from an ordinary ramp and gives up some shallow water access. Later boats were also offered with a wing keel. It draws just under 3 feet and provides much of the shallow water benefit of the swing keel without the cables, winches, and pivots. The wing keel will not point quite as sharply as the fin, but for general cruising, it might be the best compromise. It offers that shallow draft, less maintenance, and better behavior at anchor than a swing keel boat with its keel raised. On any fixed keel boat, inspect the keel to hull joint and the bolts inside. Look for heavy corrosion and rust trails, cracking in the bilge floor, or any movement. A small cosmetic seam between the hull and the keel is normal. A keel that appears to be starting a separate life from the hull is not. Under sail, the 25 is pleasant, forgiving, and predictable rather than especially fast. The fin keel performs best upwind. The swing keel boat gives away some efficiency through the keel slot, cable, and a less refined foil shape. The tall rig helps in light air, but every version sails better when kept reasonably flat. Too much heel creates drag, loads up the helm, and makes the boat feel less controlled. Some sailors treat heeling as proof that the boat's moving quickly. It's the sailing equivalent of assuming a louder lawnmower must be cutting the grass better. Reefing early usually makes the boat faster, more comfortable, and much easier to steer. Down below is where the Catalina 25 performs its best trick. It has a remarkable amount of living space for a 25-footer. There are 2 main interior layouts, the traditional version, which uses opposing settees with a folding table on the bulkhead. With the table stowed, the cabin feels open and surprisingly spacious. The dinette layout creates a dedicated eating area, but it divides the cabin more and can make the interior feel smaller. On some examples, the dinette, galley, head, and equipment also place more weight on one side, creating a slight list at the dock. The pop top, though, is one of Catalina 25's signature features. Closed headroom's about 5'6". Raised, it provides more than 6 feet of standing room around the companionway. With the canvas enclosure installed, the boat becomes much more comfortable at anchor. The downside is that the top is large and fairly heavy. Some owners use it constantly. Others raise it once, decide the process requires more enthusiasm than expected, and then leave it closed for the next 3 decades. Inspect all the lifting hardware, the seals, and the canvas. Water leaking around the pop top can damage the interior and create the familiar old boat smell, which is usually equal parts mildew, fuel, and forgotten optimism. The galley is small but functional, usually with a sink, icebox, and space for a portable stove. Early iceboxes were not especially well insulated, and many have been modified by their owners. On the original plumbing, the sink and icebox drains shared a plumbing line. If the drains left open while sailing, water could back into the icebox as the boat heels. This is worth checking before your lunch begins marinating in the lake. The enclosed head is another major advantage over many smaller trailerable boats. Check the toilet, holding tank, hoses, and ventilation. Older boats may have been modified several times, so examine the quality of the installation rather than assuming it's all original and functional. The forward V berth is usable, although taller adults might find it snug. The large quarter berth beneath the cockpit is often advertised as a double, but for most owners it works better as a generous single, a child's berth, or very large storage area. Check the forward hatch and every deck opening for leaks. Look for softness around the hatches, mast step, chain plates, and stanchions. Below the waterline, inspect for blisters. A few small blisters are manageable. Hundreds of them can turn an inexpensive boat into a major sanding and refinishing project. So, which Catalina 25 should you buy? Later boats, especially those around 1988 and onward, received a substantial redesign with cleaner interiors, more molded fiberglass, easier to clean, less interior and exterior teak, and a standard pop top. Some buyers consider these the ultimate Catalina 25s, but condition matters far more than model year. A carefully maintained early boat is better than a neglected late boat whose maintenance history consists of one faded receipt and the owner saying, "It was like that when I bought it." The Catalina 25 was not designed to cross oceans either or dominate the race fleets. It was designed to make sailing affordable and approachable for everyone. It gives you a real cockpit, a galley, a private head, multiple berths, and enough sailing ability to take your family away for the weekend. Its greatest advantage today is thousands of them were built. Thousands of owners have already identified problems, and parts support remains unusually strong. If you like the 25, but you want something more substantial, check out this article, The $100,000 Cruiser Showdown, How the Catalina 380 Stacks Up. The Catalina 380's extra 5,000 pounds of displacement and clever aft cabin layout set it apart from similarly priced rivals. But how does it stack up on speed and accommodation and long-term value? This is a great read. I'll leave a link in the description for you. While you're here, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps us out, but also it lets YouTube know that you like sailboat videos, so it'll show you more of them. How cool is that? And hit subscribe so I can see you again next time.